Alright, I'm back again with another Xbox video because that was the biggest gaming story in the history of time, and there's still kind of plenty to talk about here. Today I wanted to focus less on kind of the nuts and bolts of it and more on the question that everybody keeps asking, which is about the future of exclusivity of Activision Blizzard games. Thinking about this, it's kind of weird to just comprehend how few games Activision Blizzard was making kind of at this time, despite how much they're valued because of their kind of ongoing revenue streams. The only game Activision makes now is Call of Duty. They tasked every single developer they had working for them that they owned on either making Call of Duty games or supporting Call of Duty. Then you had Blizzard, which only releases new games every 5, 6, 7, 8 years, if that. And then they're just kind of reliant on ongoing support for existing games and spending in those games, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, things like that, current Overwatch. And then there is King, which is just, we have a million mobile games, most of which you probably never heard of, but they're all making hundreds of millions of dollars, and they just kind of exist as a money printing machine, which is how mobile works. So I wrote an article about Call of Duty specifically, but I kind of want to talk about all of these aspects today, except King. King is just, they're mobile games. They're going to keep making mobile games. Maybe we will get, maybe they will help make other Microsoft properties into mobile games, but that's probably the end of it. Blizzard, I think, will be very interesting. I think Blizzard kind of has to go through trauma healing mode in the wake of this scandal where they have lost, dozens and dozens of executives and workers based on allegations of people being let go as a result of investigations. They have lost workers who have been mistreated, either in the past or currently, people who don't want to work there any longer. And then this has led to the delays of their next two projects, Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4. Fundamentally, I think very clearly that Microsoft will indeed have all of Blizzard's IPs, both kind of those current projects and any future projects relating to StarCraft or Warcraft or whatever, become exclusive to Xbox. Ongoing things, like I don't see anything changing with World of Warcraft in the way that's set up now, which is obviously mostly PC focused, and most Blizzard games are kind of PC focused at baseline, and I don't see that changing. I don't know if Microsoft will just scrap the whole Blizzard launcher thing and roll everything up into the Microsoft store, or kind of build one sort of super launcher that includes all of their, Infinity Stone assembled games and series, Bethesda, all that stuff. I probably would imagine they're going to do that at some point, and some stuff they may still allow on Steam in terms of PC things. But in terms of consoles, I do not like. They're not going to shut off, Overwatch PlayStation servers, I don't think. But in terms of future projects, I would not be surprised to see Diablo 4 be, if there is a console version of that released. I don't know if that'll be right at launch or later like Diablo 3 was, but I could see that being Xbox exclusive. I could see whatever is planned for Overwatch 2, however that kind of manifests, being Xbox exclusive as well, if that's that kind of single player missions that they're planning on doing originally. I don't really know if Overwatch 2 is going to take shape exactly the way it was under Activision, because that always seemed like a very weird Activision-y idea in the first place about having Overwatch get a numbered sequel. If they scrap that and they just restart development on Overwatch, maybe that could continue existing on PlayStation if they just build on the existing game. But generally speaking, I would imagine most new projects from Blizzard will be on PC and Xbox and will stay off PlayStation. Call of Duty is in a similar but kind of even more amplified situation in that Microsoft has said they're not going to rip away communities that exist already, but that to me sounds like things like they're not turning off the servers for existing Call of Duty games, and something like Warzone might survive as a free to play offering that already has a PlayStation player base that isn't just going to get cut off from access from the game. That said, I do believe that mainline Call of Duty games will become Xbox exclusive. I don't know if that guarantees the next game exactly will be. We don't know exactly how that's going to pan out yet, but very soon into kind of the lifespan of Call of Duty under Microsoft, it just sounds so weird to say it still. I do imagine that is going to happen. And I hear all the counter arguments to both this and the Blizzard stuff, where the idea is that these series are too big and Microsoft is leaving too much money on the table by just not selling those games on Sony platforms when, they could offer them on Game Pass and it could still be a benefit for Game Pass, but they would also make money, from actual box copy sales on PlayStation. And yet, every time I hear these arguments, it is exactly the same arguments that were made about the Bethesda sale. And even arguments I myself made, because that was my first impression too. I'm like, they're not going to not release, Starfield and Elder Scrolls or Fallout on, PlayStation, right? Like, those series are too big. And yet, Starfield is confirmed as being Xbox only. I don't know if Microsoft has said explicitly Elder Scrolls is going to be Xbox only, but I am 99.9% sure that will happen. And it's just kind of existing things like Fallout 76, that was online already, not being taken off PlayStation. Or existing deals that were in place, like the Deathloop deal with PlayStation. So it seems to me like, I know Call of Duty is a bigger game, but I still think it's going to play out the same way. I think you do not pay 70, like when we were talking about the Bethesda thing, it was $7.5 billion, which at the time, again, was an incredible amount of money. Keep in mind that Disney paid $4 billion for Marvel. So this was $7.5 billion for Bethesda. And at the time, it was like, oh, you don't pay that much money to not have most of this stuff become, your exclusives. This is a $70 billion deal. This is times 10 bigger of a deal than the last one. So if that was true about the last deal, you can bet it is going to be true about this one as well. And what I think the other missing piece of the puzzle is here is that Call of Duty might not necessarily be the exact same level of, money printing machine that Activision had it be. The idea here is that maybe under Microsoft, they are going to slow down with Call of Duty releases and maybe take a year off every so often, maybe change it to every other year period, and then get some of those support studios working on other IPs, because they own other IPs. They own Crash Bandicoot and Spyro and, all these other things they could be working on, but everyone was condensed into this Call of Duty machine. And it's pretty clear under Activision that machine was like breaking down. Like there was, I forget what year it was, maybe the year before this, but like there was some disaster where Sledgehammer couldn't do their game and they had to bring in Treyarch and release a Black Ops games early, and then Vanguard came out and Vanguard isn't like meeting sales expectations, and like this yearly grind is not really working out. Where under Activision that was kind of necessary because Call of Duty was the only game they were releasing in a given year. The only one outside of like King mobile games. And it was just ongoing revenue from that and Warzone and Blizzard games, because Blizzard wasn't releasing anything. Whereas now, Call of Duty is just one of a huge number of games that Microsoft is going to have in any given year. So it's not quite as necessary, as a new thing that they must have every single fall without fail. And that seems like a very kind of Activision demanded thing that Microsoft may not choose to adopt. So in that sense, again, that seems like even more evidence to me that if they're changing that structure, then they can just change the entire mainline series to become Xbox exclusive. And then suddenly, Xbox has this ultra mega franchise kind of under their wing where it will exclude PlayStation players, which potentially opens up opportunities for other games, Battlefield, things like that, to thrive more on PlayStation. But again, you do not pay this much money and not have that be your long-term plan. I know what they're saying now with their current language, but they're being so nebulous about it that you can interpret it to be kind of anything you want. And I think the Bethesda deal makes it pretty clear where things are headed here. And Microsoft doesn't want to just, say outright, like, screw you, PlayStation people, like, we're not bringing anything to you. They're saying that, like, things that exist on PlayStation now that are, like, live active games are not going away. And what that could mean for certain games like Overwatch might be complicated, or Warzone, but that is about as much as I think you can interpret from that. But I do not believe in the argument that they're, quote, leaving too much money on the table with Call of Duty, because that is the same thing I thought initially about Bethesda, and they have shown that, no, we seriously just want these for us, and we are making these ridiculous power moves to get power. Like, we're not just being a game publisher for fun. Like, you can make this argument about anything. Like, how many copies of Halo Infinite would sell on PlayStation? And yet, obviously, Microsoft would never do that. You have to kind of view these new franchises that they now own as Halo and Gears of War. Like, I know those were kind of crafted within Microsoft to a certain extent, but it's the same principle. And, it's why Nintendo doesn't release Mario games on, its rival consoles and things like that. And Microsoft is building a situation where they want Sony to look like essentially the only place you cannot play these games, essentially, because you can play. It's not just like it's going to be, quote, Xbox exclusive. It's Xbox ecosystem exclusive. So that will mean, so for Call of Duty, say a new mainline Call of Duty game comes out, you can play it on probably backwards compatible on Xbox One, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, on PC through whatever storefront they're running, either the existing launcher or with Windows Store or whatever, or maybe put it on Steam. And then through cloud gaming, which can play through smart TVs and laptops and mobile devices and tablets. So pretty much everywhere that is not PlayStation, like a PlayStation console, literally, but probably even a Sony TV. And then these games were coming to Nintendo Switch anyway, because Nintendo Switch can't run these games. So that's not really a big of a deal. But that is the ecosystem that Microsoft is setting up here. Again, Sony is like doing perfectly fine on its own with its instantly selling out PS5 and its very high quality exclusives, but Microsoft is like attempting to kind of bully it this way where, if Microsoft could buy Take-Two and make Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption Xbox exclusive, they would probably do that too. And these days, I'm not even going to rule that out. It's like a potential thing that can happen because you never know. But other than kind of carrying over existing servers and existing games like Overwatch 1 and Warzone, in the long term, and maybe not even the long term, medium term, next year or two, I do not see future games from Blizzard or Activision, including Call of Duty, remaining multi-platform. There has been nothing about any of Microsoft's acquisitions that indicates that this is their plan for any series, and I do not think there is any series, quote, big enough to make them, do this. And it's only amplified by the sale price. Like, this is a $70 billion deal, and that alone should kind of just be your answer as it is. I know it is like hard to comprehend, and I kind of went through this whole process during the Bethesda acquisition where I just kind of couldn't believe that, a series like Fallout or Elder Scrolls could be Xbox exclusive, but now that that has come and gone, I'm much more willing to accept that, as crazy as it sounds, Call of Duty is probably going to end up as Xbox exclusive, as are all Blizzard IPs, going forward once they actually start making games again. So those are my thoughts. I could be wrong. It could not happen. Even if we have one more mainline game released everywhere, that could be like an interim thing where maybe it doesn't happen right away. But I would be shocked if they did a deal this large and still offered a huge asset like that to PlayStation. But anyway, that's what I think about exclusivity, and we'll see what actual official announcements come out as time goes on here, but I'm not expecting that anytime soon. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later. Take care.